Hello, my name is Rich Howard, owner of Architectural Builder Supply. This video is to bring you a closer look at the Ultra, part number 16165. This is a hinge pin door closer is what it is. A hinge pin door closer is literally a device that will inexpensively and somewhat economically, in terms of how it works, permit you to have a door and then let it close behind you. And you'll very commonly see it on entry doors of homes, bedroom doors, things of that nature. Now, generally with a hinge pin door closer, if you were to open that door, it will get the door closed, but it will certainly really never latch the door. People will use these if they're trying to mitigate HVAC in unused rooms, just to keep the door in the closed sort of condition overall. Things of that nature is why it's used. Not very common, but you do see them relatively often in a variety of different, generally residential applications. So this is what it looks like in its packaging. This is what you would really see on a door. You know, you'd see this large barrel sticking on top of a hinge. They instruct you to install it on the top hinge. And I would suspect that that would be the best place overall to install that versus the bottom of the bottom hinge of the door itself. So this is what it would look like. A very simple sort of mechanism, and there are installation instructions on the back, and we're going to go over those step by step in a moment. But first, a visual tour of what the item looks like. What you'll get in the package is indeed the unit itself, and then you'll get a tension wrench that will come with it. This cover comes off. There's a lock pin that's in here that you will remove as well, which might require a small amount of effort to get off, but otherwise you'll be able to pull that out because it's what will keep the tension set as you as you turn your tension wrench clockwise. You'll set that pin into one of the new holes that will be lined up as you set that. So let's take a couple of basic dimensional properties because I'll want you to know the length and diameter of the pin so that you can confirm it will work. So the length of the diameter of the pin is 0.271. 0.271 is the diameter of the pin. The length of the pin right about to where it's going to recess is about 3 1/4 inch. Now, not really ideal if you have a 4-inch hinge because you'll be hanging out of that last intersection between the 4th and 5th knuckle, but nonetheless, that's how this is made. So that's about 3 1/4, 0.271 diameter, and that's what they're dealing with here. So what we will do at this time is let's switch to the screen view where we can take a closer look at the supporting documentation. So this is indeed the item that we are looking at here. By the time you're looking at this, the design of the page will likely have changed. But prices given per closer, sold as each. When you buy one, we'll ship you one. For interior doors up to 60 pounds, I've seen them installed on doors that were certainly heavier than 60 pounds. But again, they don't really get you to the closed position. I should say to the closed and latched position. They'll bring the door pretty much to close, but I wouldn't expect that they'll latch. Brass type color, fits 3-inch and 3.5-inch hinges. The problem of it being used on a 4-inch hinge, and I do, if this is installed on an exterior door, installing it onto a 4.5-inch hinge, a 4-inch hinge is not unusual. But if you have the barrel of your hinge and you have your 5 knuckles, and this is 4-inch, okay, that pin is really only going to get maybe to about here at best. Okay, so you're really not going to get there, and I expect that it's actually going to be closer to here. So these two knuckles will have a tendency to kind of move apart from each other. I don't really believe it's going to be the end of the world, so to speak, But nonetheless, be mindful that's what you're dealing with. Unless, of course, you can grind and weld and you can add a piece of round bar stock to the bottom of that. That would certainly be not out of the skill set of many of our clients, that's to be sure. Okay, so 1 per card. It's on cardboard. That's how it's packaged. And 100 per case. If you were to need 100, they'll come in a single box. Now, the installation instructions are linked to down below. Here they are. And we'll go over it, and then we'll do it in person on camera. Close the door and remove your top hinge pin. On your existing hinge, pull that top pin out. You'll need probably a nail set or a small center punch to drive the pin out. 2, remove the cover. That plastic cover literally slips off without any trouble, really at all. Step 3, remove the lock pin, and that does take a little bit of effort to get it pulled out, and I'll show that to you. Once you've got the lock pin removed, you can spread these fingers out, open them up, so to speak, insert the entire apparatus into your hinge, tighten with your wrench, 3/4 turn maximum, turn it clockwise, replace the locking pin is what you'll do. Now, let's switch back to the screen view, let's switch back to the camera view and take a closer look at all of that. Now, if you still have the installation instructions pulled up, let's go over this right now. So, close the door, remove your existing pin. That's fine. You're going to, at this point, remove the plastic cover. It literally will just come off. They next want you to remove the lock pin. The lock pin may or may not be relatively snug inside of there. You might need to move this top collar or coax or pry the pin out by gently pushing it up and out of the hole. And when you get that lined up, or you'll get it to be able to pull out, but you need to keep this lock pin because it's what's going to keep tension set through the holes in the top plate down into these features in the tension collar that's here. And you'll need to line those up to get the lock pin put back in. So what they want you to do is now spread those fingers out. They don't really say how far. Let's just say to 180 degree. I would put this ridged end towards the hinge leaves themselves, so I would have this facing the door. And once those are spread out, you're going to then insert the hinge pin door closer into the hinge itself. At this point, you're going to take your tension wrench, or this is really called a spanner wrench, is what I would call this, not a tension wrench, a spanner wrench. This little knob there is going to go into one of these preps, and you'll turn it clockwise. And as I turn it clockwise, I can feel that I'm tightening the spring because I'm feeling resistance here on this part. And I can tell that as I go further with that, and what I'm doing is I am restricting that from moving any further. As I turn the spring tighter, I'm bringing this part up to this. And then once you've got that set, have your lock pin ready, drop it into one of the holes, and then test your operation. They say don't exceed 3/4 turn, so be mindful. I might put a mark on here where my 0 is, and then I would not want to go more than 90, 80, 100, 290, 180, 270 degrees from that is what I would do. I've even seen people install 2 of these on doors as well, so that might be something that would work for you. But that's how this material works. So pretty simple and straightforward. You can't install it wrong, so that's the good part about this piece of equipment. They don't go together incorrectly. Now, there is a link below this video to the manufacturer's page where you can pull up not only all of the Ultra products that we sell, but also a link to the manufacturer's website, as well as a link to the full product catalog. I would encourage that you review the catalog. Ultra, the name Ultra, is synonymous with many decent quality imported residential and commercial builders hardware. If you are a residential client, I would suggest that you look at their cabinet hardware. A great variety, high quality, and value. If you're a commercial client, look at their door closers, their lock sets, their exit devices, and their commercial hinges as well. Again, good value, good quality, things of that nature. Every one of these products is meant to be used in its intended application. So if you're doing commercial work, you wouldn't use Ultra hardware in a Big Ten university dorm room building. But on the back of the strip mall that will get reasonably infrequent use, you know, maybe just a few times a day, a few dozen times a day, their door closers would be splendid for that. Their exit devices would be good as well, their hinges. So I would take a look at them. Generally, Ultra has either skids of the material in stock or they're out of stock for several weeks. They're an importer from Asia. But in general, they have adequate amount of material on hand. So inventory problems are generally not something we bump into. If you have any questions on the Ultra hardware, this is their part number 16165, hinge pin style door closer, and that's what it's going to look like, or any other Ultra product, please feel free to reach out to us. And thank you.